Over a year ago, I predicted that Julius was actually the fourth Sagratis and linked to the time devil Astaroth. That was proven to be true. And a month later, I predicted that Asta would use Ki to amplify his power, even that he would be able to increase the potency of his anti-magic. And we already know that Asta has used Ki to amplify the flowing current of anti-magic from his blade into his body to transform into his black form. So we have bona fide proof that Ki amplifies mana and anti-magic. Now, Asta is doing exactly that, with the ability known as Zetin. And now I'm here again to propose yet another theory. That theory, that the Shogun of the Land of the Sun, Ryu, is a liar, and likely the intermediary antagonist Asta will face prior to Lucius Sagratis and his forces of paladins. But before we delve into my reasoning, I believe it to be useful for me to tell you how I was able to predict my previous theories and why I might be able to replicate them yet again. There is 3 things that I was able to use to make these predictions. 1. My expansive knowledge of Black Clover and its lore. 2. Being able to easily spot references to other series and media that acted as inspirations for the creator of that series. And 3. Having just read Bleach through the lens of knowing that it was Yuki Tabata's greatest source of inspiration. Using these 3 things, I was able to connect Julius Novachrono to Sosuke Aizen. Seeing these photos that made them an obvious comparison, predicting a similar plot structure for Aizen, originally being a good guy captain and then the big bad, and thus connecting the dots of many convenient plot threads that at the time had yet been to be revealed. Similarly, I was able to connect Ichigo using Fullbring to Asta using Ki to enhance his powers. And I can use these same 3 tools to help uncover the fishiness going on with Ryu and his all-seeing eye that governs the Land of the Sun. But also besides Ryu, there are some really weird but also interesting and exciting stuff about Charmy that we need to talk about in this video that is kind of groundbreaking for the series. I'd also like to add a connection between Ryu and a Japanese historical figure named Date Masamune. Date Masamune was an ancient Japanese clan leader and military leader in the Edo period, who was known as the One-Eyed Dragon for only having a single eye and wearing an eye patch on his missing right eye, and known for being an amazing tactician. He was also accepting of foreigners and Christians, which draws another parallel to Ryu of Black Clover, as Ryu is accepting of Asta as a foreigner, even though residents of the Land of the Sun see foreigners as bringers of chaos and disasters. Ryu seems to definitely take inspiration from this character, as Ryu can mean dragon, and he has one eye, and Ryu is a master tactician because he can see everything going on at the same time. Now, I've read Date Masamune's Wikipedia page and watched 3 short documentaries on his history, but I can't quite place a connection from history that will let me predict the events of Black Clover. But I'll continue my research and hope that one day I will be able to do just that. After washing ashore in the Land of the Sun, Asta is seemingly saved by Ryu Ryudo, and his words are, "Well hey, there he is." And that was already an interesting choice of words that implied that he knew it was coming. Asta then wakes up later having been healed by Fumito, a recovery genius. He meets Ryua, who prefers to go by Ryu, and it is revealed that he is the Shogun of the Land of the Sun, which the Shogun is an equivalent role to the Wizard King. It is revealed that Ryu has an all-seeing eye, and his ability is Tengenetsu, and that's how he has been able to control and lead the Land of the Sun, and how he was able to see what Lucius was doing, and able to see Asta arriving. Ryu's plan then is to have Asta train with Achika, Yami's sister, and the 7 Ryuzen in order for Asta to become strong enough to defeat Lucius with his Ki-based ability known as Zetin. As even Ryu admits that Lucius could cause problems with the Land of the Sun, even though it is on a continent far, far away. There's actually a lot of things that have been mentioned or introduced in these few chapters in the Land of the Sun that leads to many things being missed by the fandom. And when you put everything together, it makes you think that possibly the greatest revelation isn't an entirely true story. The revelation being that Yami Sukahiro murdered and wiped out his family and clan, sparing only his little sister Achika. That sounds pretty sus to me. Yami, the head of the family known as the Black Bulls, the man who prayed for Vetu after killing him, is he really some merciless murderer? No. Ryu is the sus one. After I go through all the evidence in Black Clover to show you why I think that Ryu is very suspicious and the story being told about Yami is likely wrong, and I will actually give you 2 characters that I believe Tabata is taking inspiration from Bleach to use for Ryu that'll make this theory even more damning. The reason why Ryu is very sus is based on some very interesting abnormalities associated with him. One is that it's stated that he actually has no magic power, as it is said multiple times that he has no Yoryoku. Yoryoku equals magic power. But somehow he's able to use the ability Tengensu, that lets him see everything going on in the present of the world. But how can he use a sort of magical ability without using magic power? People argue that he's using Zetten, which is just an enhanced form of ki. The issue with that? What Zetten actually does is to increase your mana or your anti-magic energy stores to produce an explosion of power. So Zetten, in theory, shouldn't be able to be used by Ryu to enhance his mana or Yoku to see with his eye, since it's been stated that he doesn't have any Yoryoku in the first place. Now I know that since ki is a life energy, and if you lose life energy, you are wounded, and if you lose all of your life energy, you die. So the inverse logic would mean the more life energy you have equals the stronger your body is going to be. So maybe Ryu is using such a considerable amount of ki into his eye that he can see through the eye patch and thus see the rest of the world. Though this still begs the question, why the eye patch? Either way, it presents a conundrum. Either Ryu is an anomaly with the control of his ki, or something else is going on as to why he has no magic power. I believe that Ryu does have magic power though, and I believe it is hidden, concealed by the eye patch that he wears. Now, where in Bleach do we have an eye patch that conceals power? That would be Kenpachi Zaraki, who wears an eye patch to lessen his power so that he can more enjoy his fights. And which villain does Ryu possibly mirror? Kugo Genjo, leader of the Fullbringers. Kugo Genjo came to the aid of Ichigo Kurosaki, helping him train as a Fullbringer. And remember that Kugo Genjo started as a good guy, someone who was trying to help Ichigo restore his Shinigami powers through Fullbring. But he was actually revealed to be the actual antagonist for Ichigo, as his true goal was to steal Ichigo's Fullbringer powers after fully awakening them. So I believe that Ryu is going to be a similar role here, a Kenpachi/Kugo. Not a 1-to-1 ratio, of course, but it is feasibly possible that he could be working to steal Asta's powers, as if he truly doesn't have magic power, or if he only doesn't have magic powers while wearing the eye patch, then he could possibly use the arcane power for himself. Now, even if Ryu doesn't want anti-magic power, or he doesn't want to use it for himself, I almost think that it is Ryu under the orders, or working in tandem with Lucifuges, because that would be like a nail into this theory, is if Ryu's evil, why is he helping make Asta stronger? Well, I think it's because Ryu and Lucifuges would know about Lucius, and Asta is the counter to Lucius because of his anti-magic, so they are just taking Lucius out, so not only that Lucius doesn't take over the world, but also so that he doesn't take over the underworld and kill all the devils, Lucifuges being one of those devils. And I do want to credit one of my subscribers named Oof Ouch for giving me the idea for the eye patch portion of this theory. I assume that at this point you're asking, is that it? And my answer would be, absolutely not. There's still a mountain of evidence to go over for both Yami not being a kinslayer and for Ryu being the one behind it all. We've known in the past that what happened is Yami went out fishing, he shipwrecked, and then he washed ashore on the Clover Kingdom. And when Ichika states that it was Yami that massacred his clan, this seems to fit, as Yami is holding his fishing pole and seems to be heading off to the ocean. In this scene, Ichika is running after him, and all he does is to tell her to stay close. The vibes of the scene makes me think that neither of them at this time are aware of the Yami clan being decimated. What I believe is going to be revealed is that after Yami goes off to go fishing, Ichika returns to the clan home, only to find out that everybody is killed. Everyone but herself, Yami, and Ryu. Now I get it, Ryu has never yet been stated to be of relation to Yami, but it should be glaringly obvious. He looks just like Yami, but with longer hair and a bit smaller muscle mass. The other interesting part is that Asta believed that Ryu's ki is similar to Yami's and Ichika's, which is the same thing that he thought for Ichika to Yami. So he looks like Yami and has a similar ki aura. I think it's all but guaranteed that Ryu is related to Yami, or is a part of the Yami clan, or a former member of the clan. Oh yeah, I should probably point out that Yami is actually Yami's family name. Tsukihiro is his given name, so the Clover Kingdom should have called him Tsukihiro Yami this entire time. But the family name begins to make more sense, because Yami means dark in Japanese, and at least two of the members use dark magic, as we see this as Ichika's power as well. Also in the area that is likely Yami's clan shrine, a Torii Gate, the water beneath it is pitch black, so it's likely that the Yami clan all have darkness-based powers. This likely draws in a potential villain back into the series that has long been since forgotten about by many in the fandom, Lucifuges. Lucifuges is the supreme devil that supports the devils of time, space, and gravity, likely meaning that he's the cliff-off devil of the penultimate gate, with many theorizing that Lucifuges is the devil of darkness. This is because his power is darkness-based, and looks identical to Yami's power. It's also interesting that the Fausts, a family of shadow mages, summon the Devil of Darkness. who uses a power related to shadows. Remember that darkness and shadow, as we saw with Nixk and Yami, do empower each other, and even Nixk considers their abilities similar. So that doesn't seem like a coincidence here. Anyways, this leads me to two possible paths. Either Ryu actually believes himself to be a good guy, and he killed the Yami clan because he saw their ties to the Supreme Devil, Lucifuges. Knowing that Yami would shipwreck, he let him be, and he kept one of the surviving Yamis for his own goals. And he likely told the chica that it was Tsukihiro Yami who killed the family. It would all make sense. Ryu can see everything in the present, meaning that she would actually believe that Ryu saw Yami kill everyone with the Tengensu, and Yami leaving and never coming back would likely make a chica believe it utterly, as she would see that Yami never returning as damning evidence that he was the one who did it, a murdering coward who ran away from the Land of the Sun after he did the terrible deed. Ryu being there for Ichika as well as restoring the Land of the Sun would only harden her trust in him and induce more shame in her older brother. So today's video is sponsored by me and you, and that is the members of this channel. If you want to become a member of the channel, you get access to a bunch of cool different emotes and other rewards, but I want to tell you guys that the biggest thing I am doing now is that for all members, you'll be getting a exclusive member video every single week. If you become a Brigade Captain member, you'll get an extra video per month on top of those one video every single week. And all Wizard King level members will be getting 2 exclusive member videos per week. That is 8 to 9 videos per month at $15 a month, which is less than $2 a video. And that is also on top of other rewards, like you'll be getting access to the Wizard King Roundtable, which is a discussion I'll have with all of you guys every single month. So if you guys really want to help support the channel and you also want extra videos on the side besides my video projects I'm currently doing, then please become a member. You will get a lot of extra videos as well as helping support the channel. The other path, Ryu is working with Lucifuges, and he killed the Yami clan under Lucifuges' orders, possibly being a part of his contract with him. I believe that Ryu may have a devil contract, and that it's possible he gave up his eye to Lucifuges. It would be a devil's bargain, similar to how Asta gave up his arm for Liba's. I think this was a mutually beneficial contract. Ryu loses an eye, but gains devil power. This devil power allows him to use his Tengensu to see at a much greater degree, and allows him to make all the proper decisions to unite the many warring factions of the kingdom under one banner. But giving up one of his eyes granted Lucifuges the ability of Tengensu as well, letting him plan on his own. And I believe that Lucifuges used the power of Ryu's Tengensu to foresee the rise of Lucius. Remember that not every devil is under the same banner. Megicula tried to manifest first, and Lucifero noted these actions. Even Adramalik actively worked against Lucifero in tandem with Lucius and his plans. So it's entirely possible that using Ryu's Tengensu, Lucifuges forged a plan to enact his own manifestation. That plan being incarnating inside of Yami Tsukihiro. It's likely that Lucifuges saw Lucius as an unstoppable force, at least something that he couldn't stop without exiting the underworld. And I believe his plan was to make Yami the chosen avatar of darkness. And his plans involved giving Yami a devil heart. Remember that even Morris considers Yami a chosen one, and Morris at this time has 1200 years of Heart Kingdom knowledge, including knowledge on devils. So maybe he knows and recognizes the connection here between Yami Tsukihiro and the darkness devil Lucifuges. We already know that as of right now, Yami has a devil heart. We saw this in chapter 323 after the events of the Tree of Cliff-Off ritual. Gray says that Yami's body is like that of Libez, and we see a heart, a dark heart inside of his chest. Now, at the time, reading this weekly, it seemed that it was just the sheer forbidden magic power granted him a devil heart. But upon retrospection, this doesn't make much sense. Forbidden magic turns humans into demons, not devils, so forbidden magic shouldn't give him a devil heart. It almost makes you think that forbidden magic was sucked up by the heart, empowering it, and if the ritual had gone on for much longer, Lucifuges would have been able to incarnate inside of Yami's body. But just because the ritual is over doesn't mean that his plans are over. You might even think that since Lucius likely consumed Lucifuges' heart like he did with Lucifero, Beelzebub, and the rest of the Supreme Devils besides Adramalik, but we know that in order for a devil to be completely down for the count, their entire heart must be consumed or destroyed. As after Lucius had retrieved half of Lucifero's heart, Lucifero was still half there, down in the underworld, which means that if a part of Lucifuges' heart remains inside of Yami, he's not gone for good. Now this adds to the theory that Yami always had the devil heart inside of him, likely Lucifuges' heart. And I think what this is that this is the explanation of how Yami gets stronger so fast and how he's able to break his limits all the time. Whenever he needs to have his limits broken, he gets stronger. And I think that's because what happens is he harnesses more of the dark magic from the devil heart inside of him, and that is what makes him stronger. This would act as an explanation for why he is so good at breaking limits. There is this interesting image here when we see young Yami in chapter 341 as he is standing in front of the Torii Gate. There's a rope attached to it behind him, and this rope extends in a way that matches Lucifuges' horns. It's almost the same shape, and they come around the sides of Yami's head, which seems like a form of symbolistic foreshadowing that Yami is Lucifuges' chosen one. Yami made the black bulls, but when Lucifuges takes over his body and black horns sprout from the side of his head, he will be the Black Bull that his comrades will be forced to take down. Now you might think it weird for Lucifuges to come out as a villain during this arc, but I believe it fits. Noct and the Black Bulls are on their way, and we know that Noct has a score to settle with Lucifuges, and wherever the Black Bulls go, Yami follows. Another very interesting point that adds to the whole Lucifuges thing is that Ryu says that Yami is scared of moths. Now, you might think this as sort of a funny thing of Yami being scared of bugs, but you have to remember that moths are attracted to light. And what does dark magic do in Black Clover? Essentially absorbs light. It battles light, is the opposition to light. So it's interesting that Yami is scared of something that is attracted to light. Maybe it's because they shouldn't be going after him because he is the chosen one of darkness. But that kind of adds to the theory there. And it almost makes you think that either Ryu could be Lucifuges in disguise, but it really could more so be that Ryu is just in contract with Lucifuges. And it actually thematically fits for Lucifuges to have some sort of a foothold in the Land of the Sun. I mean, he's the devil of darkness, likely. And the Land of the Sun doesn't seem too bright anymore, does it? Like being called the Land of the Sun, and outside of a single panel, it's always gloomy and cloudy, and not very sunny. Is this because of Lucifuges? Is his foothold on the Land of the Sun? Does he take pleasure in darkening such a bright kingdom? Okay, so I may have jumped the gun a bit on Lucifuges being the villain. I think Ryu could act as the villain first, and this is where Charmy needs to get heavily discussed about now. The weirdest things about the latest chapters is that the Land of the Sun has a tea-serving doll called Ochami, such a similar name to Charmy, and it looks exactly like Charmy. Not only that, but they have a shrine to her, as well as the Ryuzen member Amari having a doll of Charmy attached to her waist. There has to be something tying Charmy to the Land of the Sun, and there is precedent for that. As when Julius saw Charmy, he had wondered if it was Yami's daughter. This is Julius implying that Charmy looks like Yami, and if Charmy looks like Yami, that means she looks like a resident of the Land of the Sun, which could explain this connection. This makes me think that Charmy may be some sort of princess from one of the former warring factions of the Land of the Sun. She may have been sent to the Clover Kingdom if her faction was losing. This could explain why there's veneration for her, or possibly it is veneration of one of her ancestors that she looks exactly like. I'm not sure how that connects the Land of the Sun to the dwarves though, because remember, Charmy is a half-dwarf. Since the elves had known or met the dwarves 500 years ago in the past, and the elves lived in the Clover Kingdom, but Tabata may be working on some craziness for Charmy here, as I've drawn many connections in the past between her and the mythological figure Fenrir, the Great Devourer. Fenrir is a Jotun, an evil god of the Norse mythology that wants to eat all of creation. In some tales, Fenrir eats the sun, and in every tale, Fenrir eats Odin, the one-eyed god who sees everything, which already draws the connection between Charmy and her wolf, who eats things, and her possibly being the one to defeat Ryu by eating him as well. This might be how Charmy regains her throne, and adds credence to the possibility of her landing Yuno as her husband. If she's the princess of the Land of the Sun, and he's the prince of the Spade, their marriage could lead to a fruitful alliance. So yeah, I think Ryu will be revealed as a villain. Asta, Chika, and the Ryuzen struggle against him, or even some of the Ryuzen stick to his side from blind devotion. The Black Bulls arrive, Charmy eats Ryu, but then Lucifuges takes his chance and incarnates inside of his chosen one, Yami. And Asta, Chika, the remaining Ryuzen, Noct, getting his revenge, and the rest of the Black Bulls have to fight a Yami that's possessed by Lucifuges. The Black Bulls versus the Black Bull. Also, watch out for Asta possibly splitting the sky with a Zetan. Tabata loves to portray future Sight characters to be evil. Julius is the only good one, and his power is still based on evil, as it is Osteroth's time magic. Lucius can see the future, he's evil. The Witch Queen can see the future, she's not good, and likely connected to the devils. I know Ryu cannot technically see the future, he just sees all of the present, but that essentially grants him a form of future sight, as seeing the full picture of literally everything going on allows for very accurate predictions of the future. Sorry, this one was a bit all over the place. with some reaches in logic, but we are in the darkness here. We're only 10 chapters into this arc, and only a handful of those 10 have been in the line of the sun. But in those very few chapters, it's got my mind thinking in many different directions. And I know you guys have been begging for a new theory. It's been months, so time to make one. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Ryu is lying here. I think he's going to end up being the bad guy. And then I think Lucifuges will return here. And we will get Yami and Nixk getting their vengeance against Lucifuges, or maybe only one of them, because I don't know if both of them will come out of this alive. So I sort of think that Ryu is going to be a similar character to Lucius, in a sense of they are both the leaders. Lucius was the leader of the new Spade Kingdom, Julius is the Wizard King, and Ryu is the Shogun, which is the equivalent of the Wizard King of the Land of the Sun. And I think that that is going to be the similar thing where Ryu, who is the Shogun, he's going to be training or teaching Asta for him to get stronger, and then he's going to end up being bad, or easily going to be the antagonist in some way. This is what I'm thinking. Yami definitely is not a evil murderer. Like, if he did kill his family, he was either possessed, or his family attacked him, or his dark magic power went berserk, or something along that nature. It is definitely not that his family were the good guys, and Yami just killed them for no reason. He's not going to be a cold-blooded murderer. That being said, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications. You can also join my Discord down below. And please, guys, join the channel as a member. Get access to all those exclusive videos and all the bonus content as well. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Peace out.